Hi everyone, we have a crazy transformation for you this week. Let's take this room from basic to beyond. I've designed hundreds of rooms over the years for my clients, and it never gets old. So far, I've written 4 books on the subject, and that also never gets old. I love sharing all the design secrets I've learned because I believe with enough know-how, skill, and style that every sad before can become a beautiful after. All right, let's get started. Before I get started though, I do need to explain to you why I have a dog in the fireplace. This is Fawn back here. She gets a little nervous. Fall is here, it's a windy day, and so this is sort of her safe place. She knows I'm gonna be in here, so that's why there's a dog in her fireplace. We are not planning on burning her or eating her or anything weird. She just feels safe in there. All right, so let's dig in. This is the before, and you guys, this is actually my old house. So we bought this house to be a flip house. We were planning on living there temporarily while we built our house here at the Meadow, and ended up living there for almost 3 years. So I'm glad we put as much work into it as we did because we really, really loved living there. But when we got our hands on it, it was a 1970s farmhouse in an equestrian neighborhood. And you can kind of check out the befores. You had a good old 70s mirrored wall. In the mirror reflection, you can even see that there was a conversation pit. More on that in another episode. The kitchen was just your basic kitchen that had not, been changed or updated since the 70s. Wood cabinets, soffits coming down, a window in the back, but not a ton of windows, not a ton of views to the outside, which was this incredible yard. It was a pasture property with horses in the backyard. So we really wanted to open up that kitchen as much as possible. All right, so let's talk about the wish list. So for me, for our family, all about bringing the outdoors in, it was all about the views. So we knew we needed to change the window plan and really reconfigure things a bit. Next, I was after sort of a clean, natural 70s modern aesthetic. The house itself was very 70s. It was an old farmhouse. I didn't want to take away what it was when redesigning things, but I did want to make it feel just a bit more my style, which is a little more down to earth, kind of natural and relaxed. So I wanted to sort of marry those two styles together. That was the goal. And then third, I was really after authentic materials here, getting rid of things like Formica countertops and any sort of plastic materials that were in there. Wanted to ditch all of that in favor of true authentic materials. So that would be natural wood, natural stone, and metals. And finally, just from a functional perspective, we needed open, organized, relaxed living. That is how we live with 5 kids and the 3 dogs. We need things to work for us, and the kitchen is what makes everything go. All right, so let's look at the plan. We were going to have to take walls down. We were going to have to establish focal points and get storage needs met. We were going to do a mix of natural materials like oak, stone, and brass. Finally, I wanted to create a kid-friendly sink station because my kids generally do the dishes. We started them young. I think it's one of the most proud parenting things. Dave, is that like the most proud parenting thing we've done?
Genius.
Oh, it's genius. Yeah, I know. I feel like we made our lives a lot easier. So our kids do the dishes, so I really wanted to trick that sink out for them. Let's start with the bones. Okay, so the reason these plans look so horrible and homemade is because they're for my house. This is not the kind of thing I would show to a client, but shoemakers, kids have no shoes type of situation. So that is why you're looking at plans that look like this. But what you are seeing here is the rearrangement of the entire kitchen. And I have a general way that I like kitchens organized, and this one was a little bit more difficult because it didn't have room for an island. So on the plans, you'll see I had 2 separate peninsulas instead of 1 large island. So that's where our counter seating would go. As a family, we love to kind of chop food, prep food together, work together, and have food out there. And what I like to do is take the range and create a really beautiful focal point out of the range. You'll see that in almost all of my kitchens. And so I took that main wall that really didn't have the best views. It was a neighbor's house nearby. And I put the range centered in that wall and then flanked it by 2 new windows. And so kind of where we put the windows, you're sort of missing the house. So it was a really nice view. Then on the other wall, the back pasture of that kitchen was amazing. We had horses in the neighbor's pasture behind us. So we really wanted to open up that wall, and that's where we did a very special window, large window, with a sink centered underneath of it and 2 double dishwashers flanking it. I love a double dishwasher with 7 of us in the house. It's really, really a very, very nice luxury that I highly recommend for large families. And then we had a refrigerator on the other wall with a pantry armoire, and this is where all the kind of unattractive, not so pretty stuff could hide. I loved having that in this kitchen. Fawn just heard something outside, and so she has left the fireplace. So I think that might be a good thing for her though. All right, let's get to the goods. We went with simple black farmhouse windows, again, trying to stay true to the house, the architecture of the house itself. That's what we did. So please don't get mad at me and tell me, oh, you went trendy and farmhouse in this place. Yeah, I did go farmhouse because it is a farmhouse, okay? They do exist, people, I promise you. So I went with the black windows in the house, and then for the flooring, we did a really nice, just simple wide plank white oak. The color is fawn. It's from my collection with Wellborn and Wright, and those were really, really nice underfoot. I went with a very similar cabinetry style, went with white walls, stainless steel appliances. We really tried to save here as best we could, but went with things that I think they worked really functionally well for us. Blue stone countertops was the plan, but you'll see that it changed a little bit. Very, very simple lighting, brass and white milk glass, and we went with brass, fairly modern hardware, and spotlights. All right, so here is our one last look at the before for dramatic effect. And that mirrored wall, yeah, it's pretty intense. So, I mean, can really only go up from there. And here is the after. Okay, kind of made me like, I got a little teary, Dave. So I was happy to leave that house for this house, but that was a special place. Looking out at the pasture was awesome when we would see horses there and just the land. It was a great house. I'm going to show you a little bit more about that. I'm going to get into every single one of the nitty-gritty details in images. But let's talk about the overall changes that you're seeing here. So the mirrored wall went down. You're seeing the first of the 2 peninsulas. You're seeing the back there with the bar stools. We had those bar stools. It worked out perfectly. They fit there perfectly. And on the countertops, we ended up going with a lava stone, which is very, very similar to a bluestone. But believe it or not, the whole front of the house and some of the fireplaces were done in actual 70s lava stone. And these countertops matched perfectly. I thought that was really, really cool. We did a square eased edge on the countertops themselves, but then you'll see we did a, I believe, 22-inch high backsplash out of the lava stone. And I just did a simple OG on that because I just didn't want a flat kind of plain surface there sort of collecting dust. And the OG just made it a little bit special and much more functional for cleaning. Okay, so you can see how that floor plan worked out for me. I love splitting up the range from the sink, and then if I can, I love to get my fridge sort of in its own zone with a microwave, and that's exactly what we did here. I'll go to the next spot where probably one of our favorite spots in the kitchen was the sink. And if you remember, the goal was for a kid-friendly sink station. I'm not sure if this looks kid-friendly to you, but this was probably one of the best sink situations we ever had for kids, and I will show you why. There are some secrets going on here. Okay, so if you see that there, that's little Giselle. I designed a drawer to pull out that would be a step stool. And so the little ones could reach and wash their hands and lean over. The other thing I did was that sink is angled. It's made out of the lava stone, and that angle is really nice for little kids who get very sloppy at the sink doing dishes. So we put that angle on there and it really protected the floors, something we had not done at another house and I regretted. Then you're gonna see something else, the final cool thing about the sink station.
Hold up, I am on my way, I'm in motion. Let's go to the ocean. Yeah, let's go outside. We can hang out on the beach without freezing. Yeah, isn't that amazing? In Christmas times, we'll be chilling and having a good time. Doesn't matter if the snow is falling or the windows in the rain is pouring. It will always be Christmas in my heart. But this year I wanna hang out with my friends and family, making angels in the sand. You ready? Doesn't matter, it's Christmas in my heart.
So I didn't think that was gonna make me teary, but it kind of totally did because the kids were littler. That was a couple years ago, now they're bigger. But yeah, so that was one of our favorite things about that house. We actually continued the lava stone outside into the back patio, and so we used it as a little bar. So when it snowed outside, we'd have a hot cocoa bar. When it was warm out, the kids would eat there, do snacks and drinks out there. So it was just a really, really, really fun spot. And I love whenever you can bring a bit of fun, unexpected joy into any room design. It just makes life better. It just makes it more fun. Anything that can cause what I like to say delight. Anything you can bring about delight in people. So that was what that little kid-friendly sink station was about. Let's move on to the Appliance Armoire. Okay, this was so functional. I had never had one before and was so glad we did it. This was white oak planked, and if you look on the left, you can see what it looked like closed, just very, very streamlined. And then when you opened it on the right, we just simply put all of our appliances and our not so pretty things in there. Below we had a flat drawer for linens and then 2 snack drawers. You always got to do those snack drawers. All right, and then you can see the other view of the kitchen. This was from our family room where you can see we had the peninsula and 3 more counter stools. We also happened to have those and they fit perfectly. It was really cool how that worked out. Something I loved in this kitchen I did with the cabinetry. You can see I have those 3 bowls kind of towards the bottom, and those are the bowls that we use all the time. My friend Lindsay, a potter, her company is called Wear Clay. Lindsay made these for me and they're my favorites, and just having that easy access was so nice, especially with the kids and putting things away. I loved having that there, and then you can sort of see the other view, the way the windows lined up flanking the range, and the way the range is that simple focal point in the middle. We had a simple drywall hood fitted around the blower, and then we just used some reclaimed wood for sort of a mantle at the bottom of the hood. And there you're also seeing some of the original beams that were in the house. And also you'll notice here the way the woods are playing together. I went with white oak and white oak, and so some might call that matchy-matchy, but I wanted a really kind of calm, natural feeling. Again, you're really seeing those natural textures and how they play together, the stone, the wood, the brass. And so I didn't want a lot of contrast in my woods. I was using the contrast between that sort of bluey lava stone and the warmer woods. So that was sort of my contrast. And then of course with the hit of black for that little bit of edge. All right, and then you see the final before and after. If you liked this video, please be sure to hit like and subscribe. We have so many of these coming at you. I've said we have hundreds, but we might have 1,000. I'm truly trying to figure out how many we have stored up. So we got a lot coming for you, so definitely be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of them. I hope you enjoyed seeing this kitchen go from basic to beyond. I have to hide. I legit have to hide. Like that is not, this is, I don't know. Okay. Yeah, cheers guys. See you next time.